The following program is being funded by the Harmony Hill Performing Arts Foundation. And by Mark A. King, Marion Street Auto Body, 44 Marion Street, and the Mark A. King Mechanic Shop, 99 Rear Cottage Street in Lynn, Massachusetts. Ladies and gentlemen, and children of all ages, welcome to the Overall View, the program that lets you see from God's perspective the entire world and how God sees it all. Your hostess for this travel adventure is Josephine Russo, presenting for you the big picture. Because once you see the larger picture, everything else will seem smaller by comparison. May your troubles be few and your vision be large. And now, here's Josephine Russo.
Welcome to An Overall View. And my guest is Leon Breckenridge. Welcome.
Nice being here.
Nice having you, Leon, once again on An Overall View. I'd like to thank LinCam TV for this beautiful studio, Peabody Access Telecommunications, Alfred Nesser, the film producer, and I'm the host of the show, Josephine Russo. Now, Leon, you have a topic that you would like to talk about, what's going on with the golf tournament and Hawk and all that you're about.
Okay, the reason why I started this Hawk program, or the golf program, is because my mother was abused.
Oh.
Matter of fact, I seen her being abused by my father at a young age.
Oh.
And as I was looking through the door, I seen my father point a shotgun at her.
Oh, my heavens.
And it was very, very scary for me at that particular time as a youngster. I must have been around 6 or 7 years old.
Oh.
And maybe about a month or two after that, my mother left and went to Jersey. And I didn't see her for about 10 years later, and so on like that. But that was a very tragic thing for me. And my father was very abusive to me also. And I remember the time that many times actually, that he would take a switch to me and he would take all of my clothes off, or I would make me take all of my clothes off, and I would be naked.
Wow.
And he would beat me with switches, and I would have these bruises.
Was there something wrong with him mentally? Mentally ill?
I think he was very depressed, and maybe he had a lot of stress, and he would take it out on his children. And that was
How many children did he have?
Well, actually, he had one out of wedlock by another lady up in the White Silver Springs, and then he had my brother and I, that we was siblings, and we was pretty much raised by him.
Oh, yeah.
But
you also had a relationship with your grandmother.
Oh, my grandmother was outstanding.
Now, was she your father's mother?
No, she was my mother's mother. And she
was very kind to you.
She was very, very kind. And she was the one actually had told me, she said, never forget your mother, although she did leave us at that time.
She had to.
She had to. It really had to, actually, because like I said, he was very abusive, and he was very abusive to me also.
Yeah.
You know. But
so she was wise to leave.
Yes.
She had to do what she had to do.
Oh, yes. The thing about my grandmother, she was just like gold to everybody, pretty much.
Yeah,
and
I remember you telling that story.
Anybody that would be in heaven,
it would be your grandmother.
My grandmother. I mean, she took care of people that had problems mentally, people that had birth defects.
Wow.
And she would just bring them in and would take care of them. We had one little boy that died by he fell into the fire. She had a fireplace, and he fell into it, and he died, and so on. And I remember him. I used to go up to see Grandma. He used to come up and give me a hug. I used to love that little boy, you know, and because I was always attached to people that had problems or handicap or so on like that. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here. And my mother's here in Danvers, and she had mental problems also.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes I believe that's one of the reasons why I'm here on earth, to take care of my mother.
Oh, wow.
You know, because she'd been having a sickness pretty much all her life also. Because when I went to Jersey to visit my mother, when I was in high school, I graduated from high school and went to see my mother, and the place that she lived in, it was terrible. And I never seen anybody could live like this. And she would have roaches.
Oh, no.
In her
Is
grease.
she living well now?
Yeah, she lives in a nursing home over at Oak.
So she's being cared for.
Yes, she is.
And so your heart goes out to the women at Hawk.
Yes, because they have been abused.
Because in your day, even my day, I don't think they had organizations like they do today to help domestic violence victims. And, you know, it's a real blessing that they have Hawk.
Yes, it is. It is.
And what are you doing for Hawk this coming June?
June 25th, we're going to have a golf tournament over at Cedar Glen. And what's going to happen is that the money that I will receive, I will give them a portion of that, and also some money goes to scholarships to help kids that don't have much money for a scholarship fund and so on like that. So I think that it would be around. Well,
thank God for people like you that give back.
Oh, I love giving back. I love giving back.
I do too. And you know, you don't have to be a millionaire.
No, you don't.
And we're not millionaires, but to give back to the community, to give back to what we have experienced in our lives is a wonderful blessing, you know. And I think it's really great for you to realize that as you witnessed your mother and what she went through, that you realize that these women are in desperate need of help. And they're courageous to get away. Because not everyone has that courage to leave the situation. Do you want to expound on that?
Well, a lot of these people that been abused, I guess they don't have much money, so you know they need a little bit of money to survive in some respects. You know, maybe pay a rent or maybe buy some food or something like that nature and so on like that. You know, just a little bit of handout to help them go forward in life. You know, somebody always need a little bit of help in some cases, you know. And that's one of the reasons why I do it. It's just when I coach, I love coaching kids that don't have the skills in a lot of ways. And I give them the fundamentals and the basics and so on. And even though they're not great basketball players or football players or baseball players, I like teaching that. I like giving.
Yes.
Just to help them in life. To go up that ladder, to proceed, and get ahead. It's like Governor Packard, the governor of our state.
Yes.
He said, pass it on. The guy on the bus said, pass it on. You pass on different things in life to help people.
Right, right. And that's what we're called to do.
Yes, it is.
You know, if we name the name of Christ and we call ourselves Christians.
Oh, yes.
That's part of being a Christian.
It sure is.
Jesus always was for the lost, for the broken, for the lame, for the mentally ill, for those that were handicapped. He didn't discard people. Like, the world kind of has a way of creating a system where I'm so grateful for the Special Olympics, what Eunice Shriver did to value those that are different. You know, those that may be mentally retarded or whatever, they're still valuable. They still can do things. And thank God for people like Eunice Shriver and the Kennedys for realizing that and for funding that. And I think we're living in such perilous times, such challenging times, that we need more people to give back to the community. And I noticed doing this show, those that sponsor the show, for example, Mark King, he's always willing to sponsor the show. And because he gives back to the community. And George Marcos is another one that gives back. People that benefit in the city, they have businesses. I like to patronize these people because they have such a way of realizing the need to give back. And that's what the show is about. The show is about ordinary people like yourself doing extraordinary things. And you've been blessed, Leon. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your service in Vietnam?
Oh yes, I'm pretty much trying to get some benefits from Agent Orange when I was in Vietnam. It's Agent Orange that they were spraying certain types of materials over there to kill the jungle, so you can see the Viet Cong and so on. And I did have leukemia. It's a form of leukemia that's called hairy cell leukemia.
Wow.
And so I was sick for a while, but actually I didn't really get sick. I was just getting tired all the time or something like that, you know. But I remember when I was at home, and when the doctors, well, actually the doctors told me that I had the leukemia, and then I went home and I read the Bible.
Wow.
And I was laying in my bed, and I was reading the Bible, and I was reading a certain chapter. I don't remember the chapter, but we talked about Jesus Christ and how he lived. And I fell asleep. And I woke up maybe about an hour later. And in my dream, I seen a figure of Jesus Christ.
Wow.
And I said, wow, this is amazing that I would see Jesus. So it gave me the belief that I was going to be cured of this disease.
Wow.
It seemed like Jesus had touched me.
Right.
I seen this figure. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful figure of Jesus. And I knew it was all over, and I knew that I was going to be healed.
Right.
And then when I went into the hospital to get my chemo, and I seen that drop go down the tube into the stent that I have in my chest. And when it went down, and when it touched my skin, I knew.
You knew beyond a shadow of a doubt.
No, I was going to be cured.
And you're right. You're living proof.
Oh, it's wonderful. Jesus is wonderful.
Yes, he is.
It is wonderful. It really
and as we're approaching Memorial Day, and you're a veteran, what are your thoughts?
When I think about the veterans, I think they should do more about veterans. For veterans, I think they should get better benefits. They talk about they not getting no jobs when they come back from the war, and we are fighting on 3 fronts now, and that's too bad that we are in some respects, you know, over the different types of problems that we have in the world, and it seems like America's always fighting and are being the police of the world. I think we have to stop that in some respects, you know. But we need to take care of our veterans a little bit better, because if it wasn't for the veterans, we wouldn't be here.
Thank God, Father.
In some respects, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like some veterans say, you might be speaking Japanese or German and so on. And I don't think a lot of Americans want to speak that, because America is a beautiful country.
Yes, it
And
is.
God bless America if it wasn't for the veterans. You
Now,
know, it's
did
very
you ever think you would live long enough, Martin Luther King, civil rights, the terrible marches that make me cry? Did you honestly ever think in your lifetime you would see the election of a black president?
But one thing I got to tell you, if it wasn't for Jackie Robinson, he was an athlete. And he was the first black baseball player.
Yes.
1947, April 23rd, when he became a professional baseball player.
Yes.
If it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have been an Obama, because he's the one that started the whole thing, pretty much.
Well,
You know.
Yes.
You heard of Jackie Robinson, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
But also, not for anything, Pete Seeger, a singer, had much to do with the civil rights movement and singing songs and We Shall Overcome.
Right.
And let's face facts. We have come a long way.
Sure have.
We have a long way to go. But we have come to a point in our society where white and black and Asian can come together in peace, in respect, and in harmony. And for myself, I am very glad to see President Barack Obama in office. And I just think we need to get past our differences. And every time I watch Martin Luther King, let's face it, as Jesus laid down his life for us, Martin Luther King laid down his life. He was so prophetic before he died. It was almost like he knew. You know, I've come to the mountaintop.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, definitely so. Yep. Yep. Well, but blacks, they come to America and they took up the cross and Christianity from slavery. You know, in Africa, they didn't have Christianity at that particular time during the early 1600s or the 1500s, even before, even mankind. So when they came to America, they didn't, the slave masters didn't want them to read the Bible or even read.
No.
Okay?
They wanted to keep them down.
Right. So actually they went and got a Bible and started reading it, and they said, this man is true. Jesus Christ is true. And that's how their faith came involved. In the civil rights movement, black men had to have great faith to carry on. To have that march, have these dogs attack them, water holes.
Yeah, but I can't bear it,
and so
Leon.
on. And
I can't bear it.
And they kept on going. And they fought for their rights.
And not for anything, many white men joined them.
Right.
And many white men died.
Right, right. That's true. Especially, I heard of that story, Mississippi burning.
Yes.
There's a story about that. A lot of whites did die. But,
yes.
But we have to work together.
Yes.
That's important. If you
and
work
that's
together,
what I love about St. Stephen's, the church we go to, is that it's not all white, it's not all black,
Right.
it's so diversified, and it's something going on all the time with our youth, with Jason Cruz, with Raw Arts, with Antonio Gutierrez, street outreach worker, that used to have his office at St. Stephen's to prevent gang violence. Echo,
Oh, yes.
getting jobs. That church, you don't get bored.
That's one of the reasons why I like that church.
You don't get
I
bored
enjoy
because there's something that they are not self-absorbed in just what their little group is about, that they reach out to the community. They have a food pantry on Fridays, except the first Friday of the month. They have a spot at my brother's table. The fourth Sunday of the month, they join the Lutherans to serve at my brother's table. They have time on Tuesday afternoons. They're always giving back to the community. And I think that we need to do that. As your, tell us a little more about the golf tournament for Hawk.
Well, I started this about 2 years ago. And just like I said, I seen my mother being abused. And I didn't have that many golfers, but we collected $250 some odd, and we gave it to the lady that's the president of, I can't think of her name now, Candace, her name is. And I gave it $250, and then she really appreciated it. And then she wrote me a marvelous letter and how she appreciated the $250 and so on like that. And that made me feel great, actually. And as a matter of fact, I put it in a frame and I put it on my wall and so on like that, you know. Because I thought that was wonderful. You know, $250 is not that much money in some respects, but it does.
But you did something.
But it did something, right?
You know,
and I think that's important. But I just wanted to talk about one other thing that I read a book a while back, and I don't know if you ever heard of a guy named Paul Robeson. He was a singer. He's the one that sung "Old Man River."
Oh yeah.
And he was the first guy that played, the first black guy that played, you know, Othello, Shakespearean theater and so on like that, and so on like that. But he went down south and he went in front of Congress, and they pretty much said that he was a communist at that particular time. I guess that was in the 30s, because he was fighting for civil rights. He came into the picture even before Martin Luther King did. And he went down south to save, we talk about veterans. The Ku Klux Klan used to take black soldiers off the train and hang them. And they had their uniforms on.
That's terrible.
You're right, it is terrible. Why would anybody do that to somebody that's trying to save or fight for your freedom?
We fight not against flesh and blood, but we fight against every principality and power thereof. And that's satanic behavior. That's all I can say.
It is satanic. It sure is. It's huge.
That's all I can say.
It is huge.
How blind, how hateful.
Why? Why would you think people are so hateful?
Well, I don't know if you can blame the way they were brought up, or their environment, or their insecurity, or their jealousy. I don't know what it is. But I didn't grow up that way.
I think they should get educated.
Yeah.
Start reading the Bible, try to read books.
Yeah.
Try to read where man came from,
right.
where the civilization come from, and then they will learn a lot. It's very important, you know. You have to massage your brain, and when you massage your brain and get, like I said, get involved.
Ignorance.
Yeah.
Ignorance.
And it's important. Get education.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons why we had the scholarship fund also.
Yes.
That's from the Brotherhood Club. You know, get people educated.
Yes, we give out scholarships at St. Stephen's.
So when you get educated, you forget about being a bigot or being jealous of someone.
Right.
Because you have the whole world in front of you. And if you have that and get yourself educated, you can grab all of that and get ahead. And keep on pushing, like I say.
And that's what this show hopes to have, guests that from all different walks of life, from every color, you know, every nationality, and even different religions. That's my hope, to show in these communities that these people are successful, productive, charitable, kind, religious, wonderful people. And I don't think we can put any, personally myself, I don't like to be in a box and say, well, she's Baptist, she's Episcopal, she's Catholic, she's Protestant. You know, I'm everything. I love everybody. I don't want to be in a box.
That's what you should be. Love everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it takes
because there's good in it. There's a little bit of good in the worst of us, and there's a little bit of bad in the best of us.
It's true. That's true.
Isn't that true?
And it takes more to hate. You know, if you're hateful, it takes so much out of you.
Oh, yeah.
You know, your blood pressure goes up and so on. And then if you love, it don't take that much. Just have a little smile. They like the little smile you have. It's lovely to have a smile.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and people tend to come towards you and say, well, no, he's a nice person, and he has a nice smile. It's a loving smile.
Because God is no respecter of persons. You know, his love is unconditional. And that's the greatest thing about Christ, is that he didn't exclude anyone. No one was excluded, you know, because of the color of their skin or because of their economic background. So as we draw the show to a close, I'd like to thank you once again, Leon Breckenridge.
Thank you for inviting me.
And have a wonderful golf tournament for Hawk. And I'd like to thank WinCam TV, PBD Access Telecommunications, Alfred Nesser, and all those that make an overall view possible. And I'm Josephine Russo. Thank you, and have a blessed and wonderful day.
Funded by the Harmony Hill Performing Arts Foundation. And by Mark A. King, Marion Street Auto Body, 44 Marion Street, and the Mark A. King Mechanic Shop, 99 Rear Cottage Street in Lynn, Massachusetts.